Welcome along to the How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast. And today's episode, as I mentioned in the introduction, is a special collaboration with our friends at VTCT Skills. And I'm delighted to have joining me for this one today, the Business Development Manager at VTCT Skills, Nicola Steinbach, and the Group Education Manager at Cloud9 Hair, Marie Nieuwoudt. So welcome along, Marie. Nicola, great to have you joining us on How to Cut It podcast.
Lovely to be here.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having us.
Well, this one really is today. We've got a lot of things that we want to cover. And again, we kind of led the listeners into that. Certainly, hairdressing education, VTCT skills, really, to me, seems to be leading away very much as we go in this part of the industry, Nicola. There'll be some of our listeners, just VTCT skills. Who are these? Where they appeared from?
So who are we? So VTCT Skills, we are an awarding organisation, an endpoint assessment organisation. What that means, we write and develop qualifications across a whole range of vocational sectors. Our heritage is in hairdressing, barbering and beauty. We have been in business now for over 60 years actually, but we are leading the way in hairdressing, barbering and beauty specifically. We certificate over 120,000 learners a year. So that's a huge amount of people in our industry who are out there achieving a VTCT skills qualification.
Brilliant. And Marie, where do you come into all of this then with VTCT skills?
Well, we've been really lucky to be invited along to these amazing roadshows that VCTC have been doing, which is a really kind of boots on the ground, connecting with the industry, with students, tutors. I mean, I feel like a band on tour, to be honest, with Nicola and Mark and the whole team.
It looks like a band on tour when I'm looking in, may I tell you, Marie?
Yeah, it's really great because from a Cloud9 perspective, we're delivering some really gorgeous skills that are needed around heat awareness and consultation and really kind of championing that the students get a really rich experience. So I'm delighted that I'm on tour. It's wonderful to be able to listen to the needs of the tutors and the students. And there's such a wide range of students. We always presume that these students are going to be of a certain age. What I've experienced is there's many ages that are choosing hairdressing as their chosen career after being in a different career. So it's been really lovely to kind of be with the students and be with the tutors on the tour. So we're super proud to be with VCTC. I've actually taught the curriculum myself at the Westro Academy in Leeds, and it was a really fantastic experience to see how it's changed and it really fits the needs of today's learner. So
what I love about this, Nicola, is, the presence actually of VTCT skills it's certainly come to my attention a lot more, and it seems that you've become really active. And I guess as a business development manager, you've been driving a lot of this, and Mark as well. Big shout out to Mark. The tour, before we get into the juicy stuff, the tour, why did you take this out there? Well, what sort of feedback are you getting from the students and the learners, the teachers? What's your feedback?
Yeah, well, this actually is our third time out on tour. So we started the tour nearly 3 years ago. Essentially, the collective is a community that we developed online, which was in response really to industry and to the sector. So to the teaching staff who were like, help us, feed us, give us, connect us, what's happening in the industry. And we wanted to support and become that voice that is championing the sector and supporting not only the teachers, but the students and, really helping them and bringing together industry. So we started off as an online, and then we developed it. We were like, let's take this out there and see what happens. So we did 4 events, very small, across the country, and the response was fantastic. So what we then did is we've kind of grown and developed it, and knowledge before assumption. We've temperature checked with these people. What do you want to see? What do you want to learn? who do you want there? And that's how the events have grown. So we're on tour at the moment, and we are doing 10 events across the country. So we've already been in my homeland of Scotland. We've been in, my goodness, we've been everywhere. And we're just about to start again. And the idea is we are bringing the industry to the colleges, the teaching staff and
Love
their
it.
students.
Love
So
that.
kind of, you know, what's their needs and learns. Something that's been really great about this run of collectives is that we have introduced a new section called the College Spotlight, which is where we're given the opportunity for students who are on course at the moment to come up on stage and present in front of an audience, which is something they've probably never done before, with a model. And the objective really is to showcase the skills that they're learning, what they're enjoying about what they're doing. And we also ask them about what are their aspirations, what's next, where do they want to go. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to see the here and now, the people that are on program learning, getting that opportunity to have a platform, something that they may have never done before, get on a mic, introduce themselves and show what they've been doing. It's a really, really wonderful part of this year's tour.
Is there a place that you announce these tours, and you know, where do we get all this information from?
Yeah, really good question. So follow us on socials straight away, because we advertise everything on socials, on VTCT Skills, on Instagram and LinkedIn, as well as on my socials and all of the rest of the wider VTCT Skills team. And also on our website, we have a media centre, and in the media centre that highlights absolutely everywhere we're going, who we're taking with us, and where you can find us. I must add that all of these events are complimentary. These are us giving back to the sector. So head over to VTCT Skills website, look for the media centre, and you'll see all of our events there, and also following us on socials as well.
Good. Again, listener, we'll put all the links that are shared in the episode into today's show notes as well online, so you can find everything there. But look, let's really get things kicking off. I want to get into this, and yeah, education is a big topic. It can be quite controversial as well. I mean, that's fair to, you know, it can be a lot of talk around college education and training, but I know what you're doing is really powerful, and I know how you're really moving the industry forward. But I'm going to ask you both this question, and I'll kick off with you firstly on this one, Marie, if that's okay, is the current state of hairdressing education. So how have you seen hairdressing education evolve in recent years, and certainly that's for the better and meets the modern day learners?
Well, it definitely has evolved and changed, and not harking back to COVID, but during COVID, there did seem to be an explosion of online education delivered via TikTok, via Instagram, via kind of that online platform. And it really kind of did saturate and soak up a need at that time. But when I kind of went back into teaching and I was with my students, there was a cry really for that face-to-face, that kind of, they wanted to see, because obviously our industry, we're seeing, touchy, feely, we want to be in that space where we can ask that person that question straight away. And so there really is now, I feel, a good hybrid of online availability. And I feel a lot of the colleges are bringing people in, different experts. I know when we delivered our VCTC, we would literally have experts in different fields and bring them in for a really rich learning experience. And we actually took our students out on industry days out to really connect with people on that level of eye contact and listening to their stories and feeling, I don't want to sound airy-fairy, feeling the energy, you know.
I don't remember this kind of stuff when I was certainly going to college. YTS back in dinosaur land time. But how exciting that you talk about this, Marie. And what would you say, Nicola? How would you add to that question that we asked?
I think the learner of today has changed. The 16-year-old that's coming into the industry has changed. And in response to that, I think that not only how they learn has evolved. So Marie's talking about, the rise of online, working with brands, those types of things. But the ultimate goal and the career path of the individuals these days have changed. And I think with that, there is such a broader option of programs that you can do. So, of course, everybody learns their core vocational skills. So you learn to become a hairdresser, you learn to become a barber, but the qualifications and the programs that are wrapped around that, there are so many other opportunities as well. So, if you think about somebody, our survey that we've just done showed that there's a high percentage of people, the most popular future career path is travel and own your own business. So to travel and own your own business, those broader skills that you need to develop, I think is opening up the options for people as to what they learn. So I think that's where we're seeing a really big step change.
How are you feeding that in then to your learners that maybe are interested in the education? Is there anything within the what you are teaching in awarding bodies in travel, Nicola, that can help potential hairdressers, learners sort of find that landscape?
Yeah, I mean, what we do as a team is we work with the colleges. We help them with their curriculum plans, their delivery programs, and we sit down with them and look at what is the profile of your learner and what skills and knowledge and behaviours do they need to learn for that. So, we have qualifications from sort of personal and social skills, mental health, how to become a freelancer, how to set up and run your own business. And also you can build and, as a qualification organisation, we actually operate in over 27 sectors. So whilst we have a heritage in hairdressing, barbering and beauty, we have qualifications across a whole suite of areas. So really, through our curriculum planning, we can really support those individuals and say, right, well, this is what we're seeing with our learners. We need to make sure that we're able to support with that as well.
And because it's fast paced, isn't it, Marie? The industry, it's changing all the time and evolving. I guess you've got to make sure that you're adapting to this change of our industry.
Yeah, 100%. You're absolutely right. And students are a lot more aware. We were recently in Belfast and there was a young student who said, I came in wanting to get my vocational training as a barber, then did hairdressing, then realised they wanted their own business. So at each point they came back to their tutor and there was a qualification. And I think that's what you don't realise, that you can actually really build and craft a fantastic portfolio of education via VCTC and really be handheld into all these different pathways. And definitely now the students that are coming in really do know the pathway they want to go. They want to know, actually, I want to be in film and television. I want to travel. I want to be a content creator. And they're clued up, and it's been really lovely seeing these tutors handhold the students through the qualification and then achieving the goals. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, and I how to cut it. That's what we're all about, is the pathways of the industry. Because I guess, if we're going to get people, it's not just about the learners. We've got to keep them in here, haven't we, as well, Nicola? That we've got to keep people fulfilled and to be able to know that there is that progression in the industry of different ways they can take it. But the one thing that I do want to ask you, as well as we talk about a fast-paced industry, and you mentioned barbering. Barbering, there was an explosion in. And why do you think there was that explosion from what you see in the learners? And what was it that's gravitated people to barbering? And is there anything in hair and beauty that we could learn from that for our learners?
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because barbering has just had this meteoric rise in popularity. And we've seen it in so many different ways, because I think that people have seen the opportunities and the success that, dependent on your lifestyle, a barbering career can give you. I always say barbers are like the chefs now. Years ago, everybody wanted to be a chef. Nowadays, everybody wants to be a barber, but it's a really rewarding career that there are so many opportunities in which you can go down as well. I also think as people, we talked about YTS there. I'm a YTSer, and back in the day, you did combined qualifications where you did men and women's hair together. Nowadays, when you're looking at your career progression, a lot of people, so we've just updated all our qualifications. 68 of our qualifications have just been refreshed, and we've removed gender. So it's not men's hair and women's hair. It's hairdressing techniques, barbering techniques, because they can be performed on any head of hair. Anyway, I digress.
No, but that's an important part there, Nicola, because again, when we talk about the landscape, a lot of this we're learning, aren't we, all the time, how we need to address things more correctly, and that's a really powerful thing. And I guess VTCT skills have to be really aware of that, and keeping ahead of the game. And when I talk about keeping ahead of the game, and I'll ask you this one, Marie, if this is okay. You talked about education and you talk about in person. Is there anything that maybe we're sort of seeing innovations coming into hairdressing and barbering education that maybe is exciting us? It's maybe new. How are we looking going forward?
Yeah, I think we are in an industry where innovation is all around us in different formats. So it might be a new technology, it might be a new ingredient, it might be, a new process to do something. Innovation is such a broad blanket. For me, one of the greatest innovations, especially with VTCT, has been the adaptability for dyslexic, neurodivergent students, and kind of that space of each learner being evaluated on their individual needs. And I think that, for me, I don't know whether that would become under the innovation, but
no, I think that's a lovely answer, actually. I really like that, because it isn't always technology. That's naturally what we think about, isn't it? It's about who we're teaching, how we're teaching it, and I guess maybe there is also, we talk about learners and innovations, and you again, Marie, touched upon it, and Nicola, are we seeing maybe people that are of more grown up years that are maybe getting drawn into the industry? Is there something there we as an industry should be looking at, and colleges should be looking at?
I mean, yeah, I think that, as Marie said, innovation comes in so many different ways. And I think that we can learn a lot from the people that are coming into the industry now, because they are kind of so much more open and looking at unique ways. They all want to stand out, don't they? They want to stand out in their own identity, in their own space. So, there's no getting away from the rise of social media and the rise of the content creators. And that's a really valid career pathway for people now. We've, on our latest campaign, it all started with VTCT Skills. We have had discussions with people all across the industry at different stages of their careers who somehow have started with VTCT Skills. And I think that whatever your innovation is, whatever pathway you decide to go, there is no change in the fact that in this industry, your foundation is your starting point, isn't it? So your regulated qualification has got to be the starting point of the innovation. And I think that the collaboration of working together much closer with industry and making sure that we're all on the same page, we've all got the same goal. We want these young people to succeed, and we want the people that teach them to be inspired and equipped with the right knowledge. And we all want, one of our missions at VTCT Skills is to ensure that people develop the skills to have a line of sight to a job, and a job that they want to do. So that's our purpose, really, more than anything.
And what about resources for your learning centres, colleges? Are the resources there for them being able to offer the quality that VTCT Skills is giving, Nicola?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that if you look at resources across all the different methodologies, if you want, so our resources start from what we offer in continual professional development. So, we offer surgeries where people can online drop in and ask questions and answer things. We have our online collectives, we have our face-to-face events that we do, but also we have developed, in line with industry trends and development needs and qualification development, a whole suite of EDI videos. So ensuring that we have CPD resources to support textured hair. We've just released a whole suite of textured hair video resources that are available for our colleges to use. We've also just done the same in our beauty sector and developed skin resources as well. So whenever there's something new that is a new skill or a new behaviour that needs to be learned, wherever possible, we develop either wraparound support from us as a team, because that's what the UK team do, as well as the tools and resources that we provide people as well, ongoing. So yeah, loads.
And Marie, how do we ensure that the institutions and the educators are equipped with all the right technical skills and certainly the business acumen that need to deliver high quality education that we're talking about here with VTCT Skills?
Well, I think they're doing a grand job as it is, and they're making sure that they have a diverse pool of people. You know, the fact that we're on tour with them and they're bringing in various different brands and talents and local talent and talent within the college is definitely a way of, you know, making sure that we're maintaining enthusiasm, quality content, and just that energy that you need to complete the whole course. Because I'm very honest when I'm stood in front of the 100 students of what you need to be able to have that turning up and that commitment and show up for yourself every day, even on the days when you don't have a model and you don't know how you're going to be able to cut this bob or style this hair. You know, we really do give a very honest and open account of what it takes and what you need. And from a teaching point of view, that there are a huge amount of resources within VCTC, both internally and externally, to be able to help you deliver this fantastic qualification.
There's no excuse to not keep yourself engaged in the industry, having all this. But I guess you've got to make sure, because young people are young people, aren't they, Nicola? That, you know, that naturally we've got so much content being drawn our attention, isn't there? I mean, there's almost overload of content now, you know, and as well as entertainment. How are you making sure that you are delivering the training, the resources that actually is going to keep them engaged?
So I would say knowledge before assumption. So we are asking them what they need. And it's interesting when you say that there is so much out there. In our recent learner survey, there's a question that we've asked over 500 students who have just recently qualified as to who do they look to in the industry for their inspiration, what inspires them and who motivates them. And we got over 200 different responses.
Ooh.
Now,
I'd love to know what those responses were.
It's so interesting because...
Have you shared any of those responses, actually?
Not yet. This is the first that we are talking about it here today. So it's really, really interesting. And what's the joy from that, I think, is that these people range from their teacher, the person that teaches them in their college or their training provider, their employer, that person who comes with them on training nights, right the way through to the good and the great names that we have across the industry. So I think that for us, we look at the relevance of what the young person, what the individual is looking to learn, and how we can access that and share it with them in a way that has a positive outcome, so that it's kind of cancelling out a bit of the noise across there. And if you look at it all started with VTCT Skills campaign, we have people like, we have a young, recently qualified apprentice who is now on the Cloud9 art team. And, you know, he's only 21 years old. And he talks about his journey with VTCT Skills. And then you've got somebody like Casey Coleman, who is a huge content creator, very well known. And he's currently doing a VTCT Skills makeup qualification to grow. So you're kind of looking at all these different people, what career paths have they got? And we try and signpost and weave people into those directions.
I'm all for that. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I feel very excited about the hairdressing and barbering industry, actually. And there's there's been a lot of talk. Have we been encouraging enough young people into hairdressing, barbering? I particularly want to tighten down on hairdressing because I think barbering we probably have, but maybe hairdressing, Marie, is, are we encouraging enough young people into hairdressing? And why do you think that is or isn't?
Oh, I definitely think we are. I know from, I just have to address something Nicola said, that when I took a class, my first question is, what type of hairdresser do you want to be? What type of kind of life do you want it to bring you? And then who are we following? What inspires you? And it is really rich getting that feel.
Do you get good enthusiasm back on that then, Marie?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They know who they're following. They know what kind of hairdresser they want to be, what excites them creativity wise, and what genre they want to go into. So, when I first went back, I had 60 students, and they all kind of, some had no idea. Some had, I want to be in bridal. I want to travel. I want to have my own business. They really did have a good kind of sense of what they wanted to be.
Do you think that's because of what VTCT Skills are doing? Is it what the training houses are providing? Or do you think there's a little bit more, they're looking into the world of social, Marie?
It's social media gets sometimes a bad rap, but I actually think it really elevates the industry and really showcases what, is possible. It shows the possible. And these young people, have chosen hairdressing. And, I don't think they realize the hard work and practice, that element, once you've cut one bob, you haven't done it. It's when you've cut 50 or 60 bobs on all hair types, then you're there.
You talk about the technical and the bobs, and probably just come to Nicola on that as well, that communication is as much of a part of being a hairdresser, a barber, isn't it, Nicola? That you've got to be really hot on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, Marie spoke earlier about the we don't like to harp back to it, but, this COVID generation that, they missed out on a lot of the social skills. And now you find that as the profile of a learner coming into this industry now, their resilience can be a bit lower. Their communication skills can be a bit more of a challenge for them. And that's where we've seen a real big rise in enrichment programs where we're really developing those wider skills like their communication, their social well-being, just kind of helping them become great people as well as fantastic hairdressers and all of those wraparound skills as well, really.
I'm on my favourite topic, really, about young learners and the education, I have to say, and hence the question. So let's go back to that question that I asked you, Marie. Then, why do you think hairdressing remains a popular career choice, or does it not remain a popular career choice? Regardless, why do you think that is?
I think hairdressing is a popular choice for youth because they can see the satisfaction that people get from hairdressing. Recently, one student said to me, and we were up in Glasgow, one student said to me, I get it. I actually, when I'm doing my client's hair, I get such an overwhelming sense of joy and job satisfaction. And it is an industry where, there's happiness there. You're changing people's lives in a few hours. It's that human touch, it's that connection, and it is a really rewarding industry to be in. And I say this to many students. You could be the only person who's had a conversation that day with that person. You could be the only person who's touched somebody on the shoulder or that shampoo. You make an incredible impact in your role. And again, future-proofing your career. I believe in my lifetime, we will not be replaced by AI. You will always need a hairdresser who's got that human touch. And I think that's a really attractive industry to go into.
I couldn't salute that more. But I guess there's also, Nicola, misconceptions about the industry as well. There is negative noise as well. You know, we can't bury our head in the sand. We all know it's an amazing industry, but it comes with misconceptions and maybe some stigmas that are associated with it. How do we overcome those, the noise that we can hear?
Yeah, so I think there's many levels to that. So I think that the stigma can start sometimes right back at the beginning in the career choice stage. So when you're in school and you are thinking about your career pathway, are we encouraging people at that age and at that stage in their formative career making decisions that this is an industry for them? Do the schools and career advisors really see the breadth of opportunity? You know, the one thing that all three of us have got on in common on this podcast today, apart from the fact we all did YTSs, is that we are all hairdressers, but we've all got very different outcomes in what our career paths are. So I think that it's been the same since I started. It's still seen as, oh, you weren't very good at school, so you ended up being a hairdresser. So I think there's a stigma around that. I think that there's still a challenge around career readiness. So I think that there's still a challenge of people coming out of their qualification and that step from ending your qualification to going and being job ready. So I think there's still a bit of a stigma in
What
that
do you mean
area.
in that stage there, Nicola? Just go a bit
So
deeper there.
I think if you go back to what Marie said about learning to cut hair, so, you know, you cut a bob. That doesn't mean that you're an expert at that. You know, you have to cut bobs over and over and over again. You have to learn how to do it on every hair type. You have to learn how to learn from your mistakes and such. You have to learn all types of clients, all types of hair. And I think that we have to manage the expectations of somebody when they're on a qualification, that when they come to the end of the assessment journey, because essentially a qualification is an assessment of learning, that doesn't mean you're done. You're not the final article. So I think it's about
You're only just started.
You're only just started, exactly. So I think that it's very easy to go, oh, they're not coming out job ready. Well, they're probably not. We've never come out job ready. I didn't come out job ready, you know, when I was 18, and that's not changed. So I think that there needs to be an understanding that we have to nurture and cultivate.
So are you doing that?
Skills.
VTCT Skills.
Absolutely.
Doing that.
Yes. So I think that through several ways, of course, we've got ongoing qualifications. You can do qualifications all the way through different levels, through different subjects, but it's also about how we're making sure that we're working with the industry while learners are on program to make sure that we are aligning, you know, our employers offering, you know, work placements, are the learners getting exposed to the industry. That's what the collective does. You know, the collective live events is us saying, this is the real world, this is the industry. You know, we've got people standing on stage. They didn't get there from just finishing their
Do you get the employers
VRQ.
coming in, by the way, to these tours? Because they are very much who VTCT Skills need to talk to, isn't it? The employers, knowing that you are really going to be developing these learners.
Yeah, absolutely. And we encourage our colleges who attend these events to invite their employers along. So we're trying to kind of broaden that so that there is an awareness. The online events are also open to employers. And I think that one of the initiatives that we have something called the Skills Advisory Board. And the Skills Advisory Board is made up predominantly of employers, as well as training providers and independent people across the industry. It's chaired by Jane Lewis Orr, who is a trustee for VTCT Skills, and our chief exec, Alan Woods. And that's where we get employers round the table and we say, what's your issues? What's your problems? What do you think about what we're doing? How together can we work to bring this all together for the greater good of the industry and the individuals on
Because it's
program?
about us all, isn't it? We're all in the industry, so we're all trying to push for the right outcome for everybody. I mean, that's really important. But a question that I think is really important, Marie, is advice. You know, what advice would you give to somebody that is maybe considering coming into hairdressing?
My advice to people coming into hairdressing is, firstly, you've made a great choice. And secondly, the time it's going to take you to get, so it's okay having these aspirations and goals, but the time to give yourself time and put the effort and energy into getting your models and just understanding the breadth of learning a trade. Do you know what I mean? That it's going to take you 3 years. You're going to need to be doing, 4 or 5 models a day on training day, and be prepared for the industry you're going into. Eat well, sleep well, stay hydrated, all of that good stuff,
Absolutely. Stuff that really matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, and be aware that this is a multi-skilled job you're going to be in. You're going to have to be good at communication. You're going to have to be good at, a number of different skills. We're one of the few skills that you have to have all these communication and do the skill itself. You don't ask a bricklayer to have a conversation, do you, as he's putting bricks on your house? You just let him get on with the job. But our role is, we're in the care profession, we're in the service profession, so I really do unpack what it's like to be a hairdresser, all of it.
Fabulous. That's really great advice.
The highs and the lows.
You've got to just throw yourself deep into the industry. And I guess, Nicola, as well, you've got to manage expectations.
Yeah. And I think going back to what Marie said there, it's not a quick fix.
No.
This is something that's an ongoing, lifelong learning.
Yes.
And I think it's about managing those skills and expectations of an individual coming into the industry as well. That it's a journey, and it's a really exciting journey. As Marie has already said, it has got to be one of the most rewarding careers, regardless of what pathway you want to go down. So I think that managing expectations, that it's, you're talking 3 years of qualification, of regulated qualification to get you through the fundamentals. And then your journey moves on to the next phase of it. So investing your time for your future, I think, is the most important
There's
thing.
always places to go and achieve in the industry, isn't there? There's so many different things that you should never, ever be getting bored in the industry. I think is a giver, because there's no excuse, because it is just so fast growing. But great advice. And we need our schools, and we need them career advisors. Nicola, you touched upon that.
And parents.
And parents. So how can we better get them to advise about the industry? How can they better understand what we're doing? And I'll put that actually then to you, Marie, and then I'll put that to you, Nicola. I'd like to get both your opinions on that. So Marie first.
Well, Dom, you said a really interesting thing before. You went, we all have a responsibility. So every hairdresser out there, every salon owner, when you're in your space of work and that person is sat in your chair, if they are a parent of somebody who's about to decide to choose their career, you are a industry representative at that point. And it's really, we all have a responsibility to elevate our industry and have a really realistic, positive narrative about what the job is like. And I think it's not just the responsibility of an organization, a brand, social media, or wherever you get your information from. Everybody who picks up those tools, you are an ambassador of the industry, and it is down to you to encourage people. We all have a responsibility.
Amen to that, Marie. What would you say, Nicola?
It's interesting because whether you're a parent, a careers advisor, a teacher, the one thing that you will all have in common is you will all get your own hair done, isn't it? And I'm sure that you will value and respect, almost all, but I'm sure you will value and respect the individual that does your hair for you. And I think that it's so important that in the school environment and the parents, they are exposed to the opportunities that this career can offer. And not everybody wants to go down the traditional university route. There is a route for everybody. I think it's really important to show them relatable cases as well, if that's the right terminology.
Do you have any of those, Nicola, actually? Some real live sort of cases of some examples of learners whose journey have gone on to something really special or
Yeah.
just exciting or achieving.
Yeah, we do. And it's something that we take great pride in, is celebrating the success of learners. So we do many a case study. We encourage colleges to put forward case studies of their learners and their individuals. We as individuals within the team, we seek out these as well, and we really shout and showcase them. We've got people who have gone from, as I say, I mentioned somebody earlier who's just completed their advanced apprenticeship. They're now on the Cloud9 art team. They've been on stage at Salon International. We've got people who have gone on to open up their own salons. We've got people who've gone on to win scholarships. There are so many. And we have something called the VTCT Skills Excellence Awards, and we are in our third year now of Excellence Awards, and that's where we celebrate the success of students, what they achieve, of lecturers, of colleges, of private training providers. And the really great thing about that is that it's all peer nominated. So, it's teachers going, oh my God, the student has gone on and done this and achieved that. It's celebrating the success of everybody, regardless of what that success is, how little or how large.
So, because we all have different aspirations, don't we, in the industry? But I think, you should always be having things that you're looking to achieve in your career, and it isn't always driven by money. It can be, just satisfaction in what you're doing. But VTCT Skills going forward, how are you going to remain relevant and making sure that you're always adapting to the ever-changing hairdressing industry? And would you feel happy to answer that, Marie, or would you feel happy to answer that, Nicola?
Well, obviously I'm an external. However, what VCTC do very well is ask questions, listen and react. So, I think that's a great space to be in. And, I think any organisation in business today is always asking those questions and listening to the people and meeting their ever-changing needs.
And I'll ask you that as well, Nicola. How are you making sure that VTCT Skills is really remaining relevant going forward? Not just today, but tomorrow.
So we are constantly evolving in line with the industry. So our portfolio is always being refreshed and adapted. New products are being brought in. We have a huge product development team who are the people who write and develop all of our qualification programs. They're all sector specialists. We bring in consultation from industry, employers, colleges, so that we are constantly updating and evolving our programs to make sure that they are fit for purpose, that they are fit for the industry that we're in just now, as well as all of the work that we're doing across the collective programme as well. That's constantly evolving. We've just grown that into, it started off in hair and barbering. We have now just launched a beauty collective because our friends over in the beauty sector are crying out for they've seen the great success that we're having with the collective, and they're like, we want some of that too. Yeah. So, it's
because actually hair and beauty are so aligned, aren't they?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm almost seeing that now with the salons as well, that hair and beauty is becoming more about the two. So I guess could we possibly see that as a future trend going forward? Maybe the two coming closer together, Nicola?
I mean, yeah, of course. It's if the people want it, we will work towards delivering it. So I think that the collectives so the beauty collective's only in its second month now, and like us in the hair and barbering sector, they are looking at what are the trends, what's the developments, because we've had a huge amounts of developments in this area. We've developed our portfolio massively because we offer non-medical aesthetics, all of these different career pathways that are developing. We have responded with this, and also just in the same way that we are aligning ourselves with the industry in hairdressing and barbering, we're doing exactly the same over in the beauty sector.
Take it to the other sector. They just cross over, don't they, so seamlessly? Because whilst we're all in the personal care sector, whether that's beauty, hair, barbering, we're all about making people feel and look great in themselves, and that's great for well-being. And like I say, they just cross over nicely. How are we going to make sure that education training is accessible to everybody, Marie, and certainly with VTCT skills, people that maybe are not in such a fortunate position to get into these sort of this kind of way of life?
Well, I think there are a number of programs that help support students from all different kinds of backgrounds. And I know a lot of the FEs and private education providers work closely with brands, product companies to be able to help support a number of students from all different types of backgrounds, because obviously it is an expensive trade to be in. So there's lots of initiatives that are in place to help support students with accessibility to the tools that they need and the information that they also need.
And are we trying to, and again, I'm not sure if I've framed this right, but, people that, with disabilities that maybe can't get into other work in life, how does that, do we kind of speak to them? Do we reach out to those people, Nicola?
So I think that when anyone wants to come into this industry as a career, there is a pathway and an opportunity for them to do it. So when you look at how colleges will establish what programs they run, that will be based on kind of learning needs. So, you don't necessarily just go straight in at a level 2. You may come in at a slightly lower level qualification. You may learn some of the other skills that you need to get to that stage. So it's not a one size fits all, that there is that opportunity within that.
And it has to be. In today's world, we've got to be really reaching out to all types of people, regardless. And what about, Nicola, that we've got the attention of maybe a college, a training provider, an employer, and they're thinking, we want to bed this VTCT skills, but are we with VTCT skills? Some employers may not even know, in truth, because that can be quite common practice. What would you say to them? Can they kind of just think, well, actually, we want to move over VTCT skills? Is it that sort of straightforward? How does that happen?
Yeah, it's very, very easy to move over to VTCT skills. Essentially, listen, it's a conversation with us. We as a team are all over the country. So I'm based in Scotland, but I cover the whole of the UK. And we have many of me all over the country, and you can find out more about coming a VTCT centre through our VTCT Skills website, and there's a section Become a Centre, and you can put an initial inquiry in. Alternatively, just reach out to us. You see us on LinkedIn, drop us a message, but the actual following the process would be go onto the website, look for Become a Centre, put an initial inquiry in, and let's just talk. What we do as part of that talk is really listen to you, understand your provision. What do you deliver? What do you want to deliver? What do you look for from a support perspective? And we can kind of take the journey from there. We hold your hand all the way along. You can do it in tiny little baby steps, or you can go, we're coming over.
Well, look, I completely salute your VTCT skills. And, I know we do this podcast in collaboration with VTCT skills, but, I've been watching your journey and your growth, and I can only validate everything that both Marie and Nicola are doing. Genuinely, I believe so much in what they're doing. And I think they're really looking at pushing our industry forward. And I think as we come towards the end now, just to wrap this up, why should we be excited going forward with hairdressing education, Marie, and VTCT skills being a part of that?
I think we should definitely be excited, because you feed off the energy. When you're doing the Roadshows, or if you're at the Excellence Awards, you're driven by the passion of the students and the tutors. They really do ignite the flame. So it doesn't come from the top down. It's definitely from the bottom up. That energy from every student involved, from all the tutors, and they have this amazing bond of care, creativity. And so I definitely think the passion comes from the bottom up. In this instance, in my experience, it's been amazing to be.
And what comes over from you, Marie, and both Nicola, you're both so passionate about the industry, and you can't be in this position to sit here and talk about how we talk without that passion. I guess my final words really then to you, Nicola. I think to just take everything that we've talked about here today with VTCT Skills, what's that overriding message that you want to share?
My goodness. So I would say that hairdressing is a phenomenal career and the world is your oyster and there are huge amounts of opportunities. However, the journey of learning and regulated qualifications is the starting point for everybody. We want everybody, regardless of where you live, where you're based, what you want to do, to have the opportunity to learn a skill and a craft that will lead them to their final destination and goal that they want to do.
Lovely. Thank you so much, the pair of you. It's been so enjoyable on a topic that I'm massively passionate about, because I'm really all about the pathway in our industry. Again, you just mentioned the links, and if people would like to reach out directly to your own selves, are we okay to share your own personal accounts? Are you happy to do that?
No
So
worries.
Absolutely.
maybe if our listener would like to reach out to yourself, Marie, where do we find you?
You can find me on Cloud9 Professional Instagram or Cloud9 Hair. The team are really good. Any kind of educational inquiries will come through the team and get to me.
Good. And Nicola, I know you're out there on VTCT. You're out there on LinkedIn, should I say, as well, aren't you? And always a good place. But I think for a lot of our listeners on Instagram, are you out there on a personal one?
Yes, indeed I am. I have an Instagram, which is Nicola S_VTCT Skills.
Brilliant. Again, we'll put the links into today's show notes for you all to go and have a little click. And I just want to say thank you so much to both yourself, Marie and Nicola, for coming on and sharing some great inspirational and uplifting conversation around our industry and VTCT skills. I'm really excited by what you're doing. So congratulations. And thank you for joining me today on How to Cut It in the Hairdressing Industry podcast.
Thank you so much, Dom.
Thank you.